The rumor is true. Bitch, I'm back, single, mingle, and bitch, I ain't looking for no relationship.
The mother of 5 was gunned down last week, and now her family is desperately seeking justice.
He looked her in the eyes and told her the cameras were the problem, not the gun in his hand, not what he was about to do. "I'm not going to do anything to you in front of the cameras," he said. Then he did it anyway. 6 shots to the back of her head and neck, point blank, while a neighbor watched from her balcony 30 feet away and couldn't do a single thing about it. Here's the part that should bother you more than the gun did. 5 months before that moment, a judge had already let him out on a $50,000 bond for crimes he committed against this exact same woman. We're going to get into why that happened. Stay with me on that part, because honestly, it matters more than the shooting itself. Her name was Ryniscia Sanford, 27 years old, a mother to 5 kids who all called her mama in 5 slightly different voices. The kind of woman her friends describe as someone who'd hand you her last $20 and somehow still make you laugh while she did it. You ever get that gut feeling about someone? That quiet little alarm that goes off before your brain even catches up to why? Be honest with yourself for a second, because what you're about to watch is what happens when that alarm gets ignored. Not just by her, by an entire system that had every chance to stop this and didn't take it. I want you to sit with that for a second, because later in this video, I'm going to give you something real, an actual safety step that could change how a situation like this one ends, if you or someone you love is ever in it. So stay with me till then, it's worth the wait. But first, drop a comment for me. Be honest. Would you have left the first time he raised a hand to you? Or the first time something felt off and you talked yourself out of it anyway? Tell me the truth down below, not the version that makes you look good. Welcome to True Crime Footprint, where we unveil the darkest mysteries and the most terrifying true crime tales. Kindly hit that like button, subscribe to this channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss any of our new stories. Your support keeps these stories alive. By 2021, this wasn't a man with a clean record and one bad night. He had a history stretching back over a decade. Robbery convictions, a weapons charge, a plea deal in 2011 where he testified against an accomplice just to shorten his own sentence. None of that is a guess. That's documented, on paper, in Harris County court files. In August 2020, he was arrested again, felon in possession of a firearm, a felony, and the 182nd Criminal District Court, under Judge Danny Lacayo, let him out on bond. By January 2021, he'd violated the terms badly enough that the court actually pulled the bond back. Good. That's the system working, right? For about a month. Because in February, Lacayo reinstated it, set it at $50,000. Davis paid it, walked out, and within months, he was right back in Ryniscia's life. On May 30th, while she was asleep, he attacked her, climbed on top of her, hit her in the face, over and over, tore the extensions clean out of her hair until she lost consciousness completely. She woke up to that. This time, she left. For real. She went to prosecutors. She got a protective order on paper with a judge's signature, supposedly meant to keep him away from her by law. Davis ignored it completely. Violation after violation. Retaliation charges. More felonies stacking up while he was still walking around free. A few years earlier, while she was pregnant and sitting in a jail cell on an unrelated charge, Ryniscia said something in an interview that explains more about this case than any piece of evidence the state presented at trial. She said, "It be love. Love can make you do all kinds of crazy things. I love this person, so I want to get his approval. That's not weakness. That's something a lot of people go through and don't talk about. If you've ever stayed somewhere you knew you shouldn't have, for someone you knew wasn't good for you, you already understand exactly what she meant."
Yes, I'm free. The rumor is true. Bitch, I'm back, single, mingle, and bitch, I ain't looking for no relationship. At the end, I am.
Now here's a question for the comments. A man with this record, these charges, this history of violating a protective order, and the court still let him walk free on bond more than once. Tell me honestly, do you think that's a broken system, or are we missing something here? Because 1 week before Ryniscia was murdered, Davis was convicted of yet another felony, aggravated robbery, and he still wasn't in custody. He was still out there, with her. She was in the passenger seat of his blue Ford Fusion, riding through North Harris County, talking on the phone with her friend Margaret Washington. The call was on speaker. Ryniscia didn't think anything of it. Margaret mentioned, just in passing, that she wanted to introduce Ryniscia to someone. A new guy. Nothing dramatic, just two friends talking. Davis heard every word of it. What happened in the next few seconds is the kind of thing that's tough to wrap your head around if you've never seen jealousy turn into rage that fast. Margaret heard Ryniscia scream. The call cut off. When Margaret called back, Davis answered. He used the nickname Ryniscia had for him, King, like nothing was wrong, and told Margaret to come pick her up. Margaret could still hear Ryniscia screaming in the background before the line went dead. That was the last time anyone outside that car heard her voice. Ryniscia made a decision most people never get the chance to make. She jumped out of a moving vehicle and ran. Surveillance cameras at the apartment complex caught the whole thing. Davis swinging that Fusion into the parking lot, trying to cut off her escape, then getting out with a handgun, an extended magazine loaded into it, chasing her on foot. She ran into the first open door she could find, a ground-floor apartment where a carpet cleaning crew happened to be working. One of the workers, Carlos Umana, testified later that she ran in, terrified, begging for help, and hid behind the door. It didn't matter. Within a minute, Davis was inside that apartment too, gun raised, and forced her back out into the courtyard. I want to pause here, because this is the part of the video I promised you something useful, and I meant it. If you're ever in a relationship where someone you love starts showing this kind of jealousy, this kind of control, here's the one thing advocates and law enforcement really want people to know. The most dangerous point in an abusive relationship usually isn't during it. It's right after you leave. That's when risk goes up, not down. So if you're planning to leave someone like this, don't do it alone, and don't do it quietly. Tell someone exactly when and where. Have a person who knows your plan. And if a protective order exists, treat every violation as something to report immediately, not something to wait out. That single piece of information has saved lives before. It might do the same for someone watching this right now. Now, if you've made it this far in the video and you're still telling yourself you won't hit subscribe, I'd genuinely like to know why. Drop a comment and tell me your reasoning, because I think it says something either way. A neighbor named Samantha Weibel was watching all of this unfold from her balcony, about 30 feet away. She heard Ryniscia plead, "Please just let me go." She heard Davis answer her, with the line you heard at the start of this video. Then he opened fire. Davis didn't stick around to see what he'd done. He ran on foot, vanished into a city he knew well, and within hours had crossed state lines into Louisiana. For 14 months, he lived free, slept in a bed every night, walked around in public. While Ryniscia's 5 children grew up a little more without her, he was simply gone, untouched by any of it. What ended that wasn't some big break in the investigation. It was an anonymous tip through Crime Stoppers of Houston. Someone, somewhere, knew where he was and decided to say something. In December 2022, that tip led police straight to him, and he was finally brought back to Texas in handcuffs. At trial in April 2024, prosecutors laid out everything: the phone call, the surveillance footage, 11 shell casings recovered from the scene, and the testimony of 3 people who each saw a piece of what happened: Margaret Washington, Carlos Umana, and Samantha Weibel. Here's the detail that almost changed everything. During the original police lineup, Weibel told investigators she was only 65% certain Davis was the shooter. 65%. That's the kind of number a defense attorney builds an entire case around. But in the courtroom, face-to-face with him, she said something the defense didn't expect. She explained that in the photo, his hair had been longer. By the time of trial, he'd had it braided differently. That one detail was enough for her to say, with complete certainty this time, that he was the man who shot Ryniscia Sanford. The jury believed her. Davis was convicted of murder, life in prison, with a minimum of 30 years before he can even be considered for parole. He appealed. 3 separate arguments: that the identification was flawed, that the lineup was unfair, that the jury instructions violated his rights. On April 28, 2026, the Court of Appeals rejected every single one. The conviction stands. Before we close this out, I want to say something directly to Ryniscia's family and her 5 children. No video, No amount of views, no comment section debate changes what was taken from you. I'm sorry for your loss, and I hope wherever you are tonight, you feel how many strangers carried her story along with you. To everyone who made it to the end, thank you for watching, for your attention, and for joining us on this journey of reflection. Stay informed, stay vigilant, and above all, stay safe. See you on our next video.